What's up, YouTube? I actually have to make a quick confession. At the last DPW pay-per-view, I accidentally kept the microphone. Whoops, my bad. Go ahead and tell on myself. But I will bring this to the next DPW show, DPW Fire, which will be in Raleigh, North Carolina, May 15th. And I'm sitting with the world champion. He just threw on that belt too. It looks heavy. Jesus. He's a Deadlock demolition machine. Bojack, what's up, man?
What's up, Malcolm? How you doing, homie? Yeah, this is easily the heaviest thing I've ever held in my life.
Jeez. How much does that weigh? That looks like a good 12 pounds at least.
I think the official is like 13 and some change.
Close, so close. But dude, how's it like being the DPW World Heavyweight Champion?
It's very hard to like come to grips with it genuinely. Because I'm very new to like having to put like a company like on my back, so to speak, and like being in like main event spots like this. I just recently started like being sort of pushed in that area like last year. So but now it's been cool. It's been cool to like come to grips with it. I've got to wrestle some really cool people leading up to this point. No. So I'm enjoying it thus far.
That's what's up, man. And like I was about to say that, like you're definitely like the face of Deadlock Pro Wrestling right now. And like, how's it been for like a North Carolina wrestler to have like this big company kind of start up? Because I know you wrestled in like PWF, you might still wrestle there right now. But like, what's it like having like Deadlock Pro Wrestling? Like, what's like the opinion of like North Carolina wrestlers now having like this newer and I guess kind of bigger territory?
So being like, the guy for DPW has definitely been pretty interesting because for a lot of people they just don't know like the history and how what all has led up to this. So from the outside looking in, this next set of fire tapings is like our fifth show. And from the outside looking in, it's like, who are these people and where did they come from? And like all these crazy guys they're booking and all these crazy matches are happening and they're getting all this buzz, blah, blah, blah. So it's really cool to be like at the epicenter of it all and being able to like help lead like where we're going. It's definitely like been super cool, super crazy.
Have you had any like weird interactions, or not weird, but like this kind of interaction you didn't expect to have with the wrestling community so far? Because I know for me, this is like one of the first times I ever heard about like Bojack or Diego Hill and all these like amazing North Carolina guys is through DPW. So has anyone like reached out to you that you haven't like heard from before?
Yeah, I've gotten a weird mix of like, people. I'm trying to figure out how to phrase it. It's DPW has given me a lot of exposure, ultimately like for positive reasons. Because genuine, I was having like a good like steady rise, but this is easily like the biggest platform I've ever been a part of. And like you said, I'm like at the front of it all.
Oh yeah.
So it's definitely been like super crazy. I joked with my like inner circle of guys. I was we were going to watch like Spider-Man in the movies or whatever. My birthday was coming up. This was before DPW, you already know. And like we're in the lobby and I'm like, hey man, it'd be really sweet if I could get to like 1,000 followers before my birthday. So this is in like December. And then we come out of the movie theater and it's like I'm at like 1,200 followers. I was like, what? What just happened? I was gone for an hour.
That's what's up, dude. And like you're a younger guy, aren't you? You're like in your 20s, right?
I just turned 22 in January.
Oh, snap. Okay. All right. I'm 22 also. So like I hate to like age you right there, but I'm looking in the background and I see like a John Cena t-shirt from like 2010. So
yeah.
I see that. I was like, I bought that when I was 10 also. But how big a fan of wrestling were you before like you actually jumped into it? Like were you like always a fan growing up?
So I got into, and I think this is a lot of people for like the Deadlock audience. I think that's why we're all so interconnected. I got into wrestling through the video games.
Okay.
I had some friends that lived down the street, and they had like SmackDown versus Raw 2009, and I was like, what is this? Because like obviously like I had like seen wrestling on TV, but I had just like never gotten into it. And then like I was immediately hooked, and the Undertaker was like my guy from the rip. That was always my main when I first started playing the games. He's just so cool, man. You can't beat him. But then like from there, I've just become obsessed with it, and I am the biggest nerd about wrestling. But I'm like proud to say that though, because I feel bad for my friends that like they have a general interest in it because I do it, but like they don't watch it because they'll ask me something about it and I'll just go off and I'll just start rambling and I feel really bad that I keep doing it to them, but like I can't help it, man. I love this shit.
So when you first like explain to like a friend or so about wrestling, like for me, like today I'm going to AEW tonight. They're gonna be in Baltimore and bringing some friends with me. You're like, oh, who's CM Punk? And I just go off for like 30 years just talking about like everything related to him. Who's like that first like wrestler you mentioned when like someone's asking you like, oh, doesn't The Rock do that stuff? Who else wrestles?
Who's the guy that I mentioned? I feel like Jeff Hardy is probably the first guy I go to because like being in North Carolina, that's the guy that like everyone's at least heard of.
Oh yeah,
So it's either Jeff Hardy or like Ric Flair. Those are like the two guys that like everyone knows about, people's parents knows about, blah blah blah. So like it really depends on like if I'm talking to like, an older cat, it's Ric Flair. If I'm talking to someone that's more like around our age, it's Jeff Hardy, because everyone knows who Jeff Hardy is.
for sure, for sure. And like, when did you first start getting into wrestling as far as like not just being a fan, but actually deciding to like get in the ring and actually wrestle?
So 2012, 2013 is when I first decided like this is when I first started getting into my head that's like I think I can do this. It was easily like CM Punk related.
Okay.
I have another shirt like onto my far right. It's the gray like best in the world shirt
Okay. Yeah, I have
from
that
at
one.
that time. Um and he was just like the coolest dude, and then he was the first guy I'd seen like get into like promos and stuff like that, and I think that just made me realize how versatile wrestling is as a sport, to where it's not just about the in-ring stuff. There's like there's a performance aspect to it. There's so many things that go into it. And so then 2014 is when I found PWF, my home promotion outside of Deadlock.
Yeah.
And I found out they had a training school in like 2016. So then I was like started saving up money and junk and blah blah blah. And 2017 is when I actually first started training for it.
Nice, nice. And like, what was the hardest part of like becoming a wrestler? Like, was it taking the first bump, or was it like trying to understand psychology? Like, what was like the hardest aspect for you?
So in-ring stuff has actually been like pretty easy for me to grasp, but I think it's because I watch so much of stuff. Because
Sure.
like we'll have funny moments where like you mentioned Diego Hill, we train at the same place. We both train at the Carolina Wrestling Academy. I'll find like a move I want him to try, and obviously I can't do it, but I can fully explain like what he needs to do with his body to like figure it out. But like funny like side note though, my first day of training, my first day of training, there was no ring. The ring was being worked on. So we cut promos about like video games and movies and stuff. Um but no, so my second day, we were doing like rolls and I like, spiked myself like twice, and I was like get back up. I was like, all right, yep, ready to go. Everyone's like, are you okay? I was like, nah man, let's do it. Let's keep going. Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely. And like now, since like you're now a pro wrestler, you've been wrestling since like 2017, correct?
Yep.
Definitely. Now that's a great career right there. It's like 5 years. Like, what's the next step for being the DPW World Champion for Bojack in general?
I'm just gonna keep carrying the flag as proud as I can, man. Like genuinely, this the DPW audience is so genuinely special, and I think that's what sets DPW apart. Because like our roster is so crazy, but like there are other crazy rosters out there. I think it's the connection between the wrestlers and like the guys running stuff and the audience. There's like a weird synergy there that you don't get at a lot of places. There's always some sort of disconnect. But DPW, that's not the case. DPW, everyone wants to enjoy everything, and everyone wants everything to be so good and so special. And we all have the same mission, we all have the same goal. So it's really important for me to keep trying to, just carry the flag and push us like even higher, as high as we can go, man. We're aiming for the for the fucking ceiling, bro, for the fucking roof, fucking space, bro. We're trying to get to the top. At the
Oh yeah.
top and to the top, as they would say.
Of course, of course. And like at the next Fire tapings, you're taking on a guy that you consider like a brother, Diego Hill, for that DPW World Championship. And he didn't necessarily say he wants a shot for it, but he kind of just made it very clear he wants the opportunity for that championship. How do you wrestle someone that you're so close with?
Man, Diego is easily the most athletic guy that I've ever like had any interactions with whatsoever. And like I said, we train together, man. So that one's definitely going to be a tough one because, like, I mean, he knows me inside out. I know him inside out. So it's definitely going to be. It's like they say, man. 3 seconds can like be the difference.
Yeah.
So, but nah, I'm really looking forward to this because me and Diego have only stepped in the ring together once before, and it was like 6 minutes. You know what I'm saying? This is like a totally different stage. This is for a world championship and in front of in front of all of our peers, in front of the world, so to speak. So I'm definitely looking forward to it, and it's definitely going to be a tough one for sure.
For sure. And like if or when you get through Diego Hill, who's someone you want to defend that title against as well?
Man, so ACH is just one of my
Okay.
guys, man. I've been a big ACH guy since I first saw him in Ring of Honor in like 2014.
Yeah.
And so earlier, so I wrestled for this other company called PWX.
Yeah.
Normally work out of like Charlotte, and they have a tournament called the X16. And me and ACH were both announced for the tournament, and I was like, God, y'all gotta give me ACH, please, please, please. And but I ended up wrestling one of my mentors, John Davis, and that was a really fun match. It was easily like one of the best matches of my career. But still, like selfishly, I was like, man, if I could get that ACH match, that'd be so dope. And I actually got to meet him and talk to him, and he's like super cool, and he's like deceptively strong.
I'm
So I
sure you.
think that'd be a really fun match for everyone to see and for me to have.
Who's been your toughest opponent so far, at least as being like the DPW World Champion or just having matches in Deadlock Pro Wrestling?
So number one, and the obvious answer is Biff Busick because that guy is just Jesus, man. That guy is so tough, and he hits so hard. He hits so hard. I was doing that, like the after match like interview, whatever. They're like, "Hey, Bojack, what are your thoughts after facing Biff?" I'm like, "You guys really got to do this right now, man. I can't feel my neck." I was like, "My hand is broken, dude." Um, but one that I think people like not necessarily will forget about, but because it was kind of so long ago, Kevin Koo
Mm.
is a hard hitting motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
Uh, uh, I don't think Kevin Koo gets enough love, man. And I'm like, hey, regardless of what happens in like this tournament for the national title, I'd love to run it back with Kevin Koo any day of the week, bro. Like genuinely. Because I feel like me and him were both at a weird point when we first met up, and then we both just improved in every capacity since then. So I think me and him would be a nice one to run back.
For sure, for sure. One thing I really love about your matches is like after the interview, once your match is over, you get the big W. We always mention that your mom's sitting at the merchandise table. So how supportive has your mom been during this entire run as you as like a wrestler?
I say this in like my aftermatch promos, but they don't air. I genuinely would not be here if it wasn't for Mama Bojack, man. Because especially because I started like super young, dude. I start not super young, but like I started when I was like 17. I was literally still in high school. Uh so the fact that like, because like, she helped me like pay for stuff and she helped me like pay for training and junk like that. So the fact that she was even willing to let me do this, and not only has like she has been my biggest supporter. There'll be times where it's like, ah man, like I had a bunch of guys coming with me, and then everybody just had plans. She's like, I don't got nothing going on, let's go. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like she's literally like number one fan, biggest supporter, ride or die. um and then it's funny because when I first got into it, she was like, "I you can do this, but like you got to go to college though." And I was like, "All right." So that was like, because you asked me earlier, what was like one of the toughest things with wrestling? It's been balancing like real life stuff
Oh yeah.
with wrestling, and it's only gotten crazier as as stuff is going on. But you just got to find a way to do it. You got to find a way to push through. But when you have such a strong support system like her, it makes things like more bearable, way more bearable.
For sure, for sure. I guess like one of my last questions for you, Bojack, is who is Bojack? Like, how do you describe yourself, the wrestler Bojack, to someone who hasn't watched you before?
Uh, I like to describe myself as uh, hmm, a a very agile launching tank. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
because and then I don't think this is cocky for me to say this, because I can say this about a lot of guys that are like in the circle with me. I feel like I can wrestle with anybody. And I feel like I've showcased that in DPW. I've wrestled with high flyers like Drew, and I'm about to wrestle Andrew Everett. I've wrestled like, more technical guys like Kevin Koo. I've wrestled guys that have just been anywhere and everywhere like JTG. Um, I feel like that's one of my best qualities, that I can adapt to any situation. It's what I have to do. It's why I have this on my shoulder. I have to adapt to anybody and everybody. So, but even then, so I can still keep it. You know what I'm saying? I wrestle whoever, but it's a Bojack match. You know what you're getting
yeah.
with a Bojack match. I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna take your fucking head off at some point, and I'm gonna throw you across the ring as hard as I can.
Oh yeah, perfect answer, perfect answer. Bojack, where can I find you on social media?
So you can find me on Twitter at Bojack Official. You can find me on Instagram at Bojack Official IG. You can find me on Facebook. You can just search Bojack or Bojack Official. I have a TikTok. I don't use it, but it's Bojack Official TT. If you frequent on TikTok, I might start posting more on there. I don't know. We'll see.
Dude, the way you be throwing people and stuff, you definitely should. Like that would get some traction easily. But guys, thank you for watching this video. If you really enjoyed, make sure to follow Bojack everywhere on social media, especially TikTok. It's coming soon with the content. Guys, DPW Fire is coming very soon, May 15th. It's gonna be Bojack versus Diego Hill for a DPW World Heavyweight Championship. We will see if he holds on to that. I'm gonna say he probably is. He be killing people. But make sure to like, comment, share, always subscribe, and we're out.
We going up like 1,000. I'm a flex just like a muscle man Malcolm. We going up like 1,000. I'm a flex just like a muscle man Malcolm. When it just like 1, 2, 3. If you like the channel, this will squeeze. If you like the channel, this will squeeze. If you like the channel, this will squeeze.